When I speak to children, whether they're in a crisis or not, they always seem to mention that they don't feel like their parents are actively listening or allow them to express themselves without interruptions. Children feel like they're not being heard. Young people have a lot to say, and so do their parents. But in this one, our young people are speaking out and talking about the things that they may or may not have expressed to their parents in a segment I'm calling Tell Me How You Really Feel. Welcome back to SuesSpace. Thank you and hello to my new and returning subscribers. I am grateful for your support, as this channel was created for you young people so that you can have a space to talk about your struggles and challenges. Our conversations are coming from a place of wisdom and experience. I've struggled. I've healed what was meant to break me, and I'm here. So don't forget to tap the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload. This will help with my mission of reaching as many young people as possible. Your voice matters, so let's grow this space together. Unless you're living under a rock, everyone can see that times have changed. When my daughter was attending high school, she would go to her guidance counselor for guidance on what classes to take to improve her GPA, what career field she was going to get into after she graduated, or what college she was going to apply to. Now, today's guidance counselor has been replaced with a mental health therapist. There's so much chaos, confusion, social, academic, and home pressure going on in the world right now. It shouldn't be a surprise that the children are struggling because their parents are struggling too. Young people, come on in and vent it out. How do you really feel?
Sometimes I just even though there's nothing wrong, I just like to be to myself, and that makes them think that something's wrong when I just really want to just be alone. Basically, when I come home from school and just go straight in my room for it, because, it's not that nothing's wrong with me. It's just sometimes I just want to be to myself, just listen to my music. Sometimes they believe something's wrong with me, like something's going on, even though I tell them multiple times that I'm perfectly fine. And other times they just believe that I'm fine. So, yeah.
You heard him. He's comfortable being alone in his room, listening to music or playing his video games, and that's okay. Self-isolation isn't necessarily a sign of crisis, and he wants his parents to stop nagging him. I'm sure they're not nagging him, they're just concerned, and they should be, because the mental health issues among young people have dramatically increased. So it's not unusual for parents to be overly concerned when their child suddenly withdraws socially. I was guilty of peeking in my daughter's room to check in on her to see what she was doing when she was quiet for longer than usual. And I didn't care that I got the usual, "Get out of my room," or "What are you doing in my room?" It didn't stop me from questioning her and asking her things like, "Are you being bullied?" or snooping in her diary to read what was going on in her life. And I'm not telling you to do that. And I'm not condoning you that you do that either. If you get caught, it's not on me. There were times that I needed to know what was going on in that teenage head. And I know they have this viral TikTok. Leave their child in the bathroom, shut the door, and tell the child that they can say as many curse words about the parent as they want in 60 seconds? Well, my daughter put hers in her diary. And that's okay, because she needed to let it out. I don't care how close you are to your teenager, they're not going to tell you everything. You didn't tell your parents everything growing up, so what makes you think that they're going to? Parents, you should be concerned if your child wants to spend all their time alone in their room, or if you notice sudden changes in their eating or sleep patterns. It could be teenage growing pains, but it could also be a warning sign for depression, bullying, or ideation, because I don't think I can say that word on YouTube. And that's not always the case, because they may just be an introvert who enjoys spending time alone. As a child gets older, they're going to want more privacy anyway. That doesn't mean that they get it. Sorry, young people, because parents, you still need to know what's going on behind that bedroom door. What are they watching? What are they listening to? Who are they talking to? And what are they doing on that Apple, that Mac, that PC? Yeah. If you know that your child does not trust that you will be supportive if they open up to communicate something's wrong, take the necessary steps to make sure that they have someone in their life who they do trust and can turn to when they need to talk. Young people, chime in and let me know in the comments Whether you're receiving it or not, what does positive communication with your parents look like for you? And parents, how can you improve your communication with your child? And if you don't know, ask them. I'm sure they'll give you a list. How do you really feel?
Like things that are now in style could have been considered grown back when they were kids, that is no longer seen that way from other people. Yeah, like clothes, like different like colors, like in hair. Like for example, I had like this hair wax. It was red and I put it like at the front of my hair and I really liked it. And I asked like if I could actually get it dyed, and my mom said that not in the front, like if she like not at this age, but if I were to get my hair dyed, that it would be in the back like a peekaboo instead of in the front. And my dad was not for it, and he said it was too grown because back then having your hair dyed was seen as something adults would do.
Well, she's telling the truth. Back when her parents were growing up, or even when I was younger, putting a dye of any color or even chemicals in your hair at her age was seen as being grown. Today it's seen as cute and trendy. I was never one to follow fashion, follow what everyone else was wearing. I always wore what I wanted to. If I liked it, I wore it. Growing up in London, everyone had their own style anyway, and fashion just never stays around long enough. They're always changing. Within weeks, it's a different style. So I just learned how to create my own. I understand both sides, but I also know that children will act grown whether their hair is dyed or not. She doesn't view dyeing her hair red as being grown. She doesn't sound like she cares what other people thinks. She just cares that she liked it. Really liked it. I know every parent's opinion on this one is going to be different. And there's certain cultures that don't allow their children's hair to be seen or cut. And I know back in the day, if you had gray hair, you were said to have wisdom. But people can buy gray hair now. I think Mom's compromise was a good one, that she can dye her hair in the back. However, Dad ruled the idea out completely. And maybe he doesn't want his daughter to appear grown or draw attention, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's his prerogative and their child. Young people, there's going to be so many things that your parents tell you that you can't do, or tell you places that you can't go. But don't worry, they're still going to be there when you're 18. Chime in because I'm curious. Parents, what is an appropriate age for your child to dye their hair? And young people, maybe you're not asking to dye your hair, but what have you asked your parents for? They've told you that you're too young to do it. How do you really feel?
My mom kind of only thinks about herself. She claims that she knows, she knows how to parent, but sometimes she's just like, oh, well, I have to put myself first. I'm just like, I understand, but also I'm a child, emotionally neglect. But it's only when she's free. It's okay. She mainly listens and just doesn't she listens and responds. She doesn't actually take the time to understand.
I get it. Mom works hard, and when she's not working, she dedicates her free time to her self-care. Parents can be so focused on providing, doing the best they can to keep the lights on and food on the table, which is great. But when you solely focus on providing, oftentimes your child's emotional needs are ignored. Emotional neglect is considered child neglect, and I know firsthand as a teenager how difficult it was for me to control my emotions or even recognize my emotions and understand what I was feeling. My mother was one of 17 children, and you can't tell me that she wasn't emotionally neglected. And that pattern just trickled down throughout our family. And I'm going to say this again. Emotions 101 needs to be added to the school curriculum. Parents, if you were raised in a household where you were emotionally neglected and you haven't healed, it's going to be a struggle to teach your child how to manage their emotions in a healthy way. But if you're not teaching them, the streets will. I understand times are difficult right now, but try to spend as much one-on-one time with your child as you can. Listen, not to respond, but to encourage and validate. even if you don't agree with what they're saying. Showing interest to what's going on in their life will hopefully encourage them to engage in a conversation. I wish I knew more about active listening skills when I was raising my daughter, because parents, what you may not see as a big deal to you may feel like a crisis to them. I remember there was this time me and my daughter came back from a vacation and she calling me in the bathroom in a panic. She shows me this mark, I think it was on her shoulder, and she goes on to say that she thinks it's a tick or maybe it's cancerous. And instead of me being understanding to what she deemed was a crisis, I laughed because I knew it was a blackhead. I could have handled that situation a little differently by helping her to manage and showing a little bit more compassion and telling her to stop watching them pimple popping shows. Just because I knew it was a blackhead didn't mean that she did. Young people, chime in and jump in the comment section and let me know, what area can your parent improve in prioritizing a stronger emotional bond that would make you feel more safe and loved? And parents, what routines, if any, do you practice that helps you to stay emotionally connected to your child? List it in the comments because maybe you can help another parent. How do you really feel?
That when they want something from downstairs, they got 2 other children that can also get it, not just me. He had like to get them something to drink or some food. Cause I think more than I never have an attitude when I do it. It's like I just never care unless I'm comfortable and don't feel like getting up.
Do you hear the passion in his voice? He is tired of being the only sibling to be called on to run up and down them stairs. He wants his siblings to share in the responsibility, and rightfully so. But I don't have much to say on this one because I only had one child. And when I called her, all she would say is, "Why are you calling me?" Yeah. He believes he's always called on because most of the time he's happy to do it, but resents being called on when he's relaxing. It obviously bothers him, even if it's not true, and his parents equally call their children to go downstairs and get them snacks. But that's how he feels. Young people, chime in. How do you feel when your parents are always sending you to go and get something for them? How do you feel about it? Do you care or not care? Do you get it or do you argue about it? Let me know in the comments. Right now, improving the communication between the child and their parent is so important. Children have a lot to say, and they hold in a lot in because they feel they're not being heard. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking or commenting down below. And that's all for this one. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and true to yourself. Until the next one.